Well, I'm also very pleased to be here today. My name is Alan Flake. For those of you looking on your program, you were expecting to see Todd Dana. Unfortunately, Todd is traveling today on business and wasn't able to get back, and so he asked me to fill in for him, which I'm pleased to do. Like you, I think I have been very pleasantly surprised in some respects, but also very impressed by the presentations that have been given, and particularly with what we heard from our governor and from Amanda and Samantha as far as the vision that this state has for energy development in Utah and here in the basin. I'm the general counsel of Uintah Resources, and I hope no one will throw things at me. That means I'm the lawyer for the company. And as a lawyer, sometimes my job is to help companies navigate what can sometimes be frustrating regulatory processes. And I can tell you that our state and the leadership of our state has done just a wonderful job of helping companies like ours to navigate through that process. The other thing that I was impressed with as I listened this morning to the governor's remarks was his outlining his energy plan and the things that he looks for and expects from all of us. He talked a little bit about wanting to see the free market work and wanting to see entrepreneurs step up to help the energy development in the state. He wanted to see unprecedented partnerships take place. These are all things that Uintah Resources agrees with. And in fact, those of you who've met Todd Dana, for example, Todd is our CEO, know that Todd is one of those leading entrepreneurs in the state of Utah. He was the founder of Red Leaf, which the governor mentioned is a up-and-coming company with regard to oil shale, very similar to the things that Gary Aho was just speaking about. And Todd has also helped then in forming Uintah Resources. And I think what you'll see, and as I describe what Uintah Resources is all about, you'll see that we really are trying to become the personification or the realization of some of the goals that have been talked about today. Uintah Resources is the master developer of what we call the Uintah Gateway Project. The Gateway Project is anticipated to be an industrial complex that will be dedicated to energy development. The first phase of that project is with regard to an upgrading facility that would be capable of processing 40,000 barrels a day and is based on the fact that we have such abundant resources here in Uintah County and in the basin, and the fact that it makes a lot of sense, as I'll describe here, that those resources be processed here locally in the basin. I think the impetus for Uintah Resources was the fact that there have been some challenges to developing and processing our hydrocarbon resources here. And those challenges over time have hopefully led all of us to draw some conclusions about what needs to happen in order to fix some of the problems we've experienced. I think the theme today for the conference was learn from yesterday, discuss today, and plan for tomorrow. And that is exactly what I think our business plan embodies. And just to touch quickly on that theme, when we talk about the past, many of you are very familiar with some of the challenges that we've had, particularly with regard to black wax and yellow wax production here. For those of you who may not be quite as familiar, these crude oils are highly paraffinic, which means that when they come to the surface at ambient temperatures, they form into a solid, a wax, which makes them very difficult to transport via pipeline. So they're otherwise very high quality crudes, but they're not pipeline quality crude. In fact, many of you will remember that years ago Chevron tried to to heat those crudes for transport, and what they ended up with was a very long candle. So we recognize that there are some inherent problems in the wax crudes that are so abundant here. But as I mentioned, other than that, they really are very high in quality. And what Uintah Resources has set out to do is to enable the producers here to be able to get the full value that they should be getting for their crudes. Whereas currently, and this is going back to the problem of the past, those crudes, because of their paraffinic nature, are very difficult to transport. And you're very familiar with the insulated trucks and truck and pups that you'll see on our highways. Those crudes can make it to Salt Lake City, but not much beyond that. And so we have a situation where our Salt Lake refiners are only able to take and only able to process so much of that wax crude. What we are trying to do at Uintah Resources is to enable the producers to increase production and enable those crudes to be turned into pipeline quality crudes that can be refined as easily as the syn crudes and things that we're getting from Canada and other places. So let me see here. Where's the clicker? Is it? This map is very similar to the one you saw earlier, I think, in Dwayne Zavadil's presentation. But what this map is showing is the location of some of these wax crudes. The yellow crude, or the yellow wax, excuse me, there to the north, and then the black wax further to the south. What you are also seeing on this map, in the white there, is the property or the site for Uintah Resources and the facility that we plan to build. You might also notice that facility lies on the existing petroleum pipelines that run to Salt Lake City. Let me just see here. This is also a map that's very similar. It's just an overlay that shows not only the black and yellow wax resources, but also the underlying shale resources that Gary was talking about. The numbers and things that Gary pointed out, I thought were very interesting to see just how broad and how valuable those resources are, in addition to all the other more traditional fuel or hydrocarbons. Let's see. What this map is showing is just the property where Uintah Resources is located. What really makes the Uintah Resources project so exciting to us, I think, is the unique nature of the site that we've located. Many of you will be familiar with this. What this is showing is an area that is comprised of approximately 20,000 acres. It sits on top of the Leland Bench, which is just south of Fort Duchesne. It's ideally located in that we have access, as you can see, to water and power. Last year we were able to work with the county on the zoning, and it also is very favorably situated in that it lies within Utah air jurisdiction. As this map shows you, the blue lines that you can see there are the outline of our property. The red line is the actual site area for the upgrading facility that we're proposing to build. Yeah, for those of you who've tried to work with the EPA and other federal agencies, you know that it can sometimes be rather laborious. And so what we were excited to find was a piece of property that actually lies completely within the state of Utah's air jurisdiction. Things to the east of that site are all within the EPA jurisdiction, and then surrounding areas as well. So this was an important factor when we located this particular piece of property. The other thing that we've been very pleased about is that I think it was in January of this year, we're able to get an air permit or an approval order from the state of Utah. We certainly appreciate Amanda and her staff and all those at the DEQ who helped get that. In the oil industry, many of you know that oil refineries and upgraders are not permitted and built very often. In fact, in the United States, new refineries haven't been built really since the 1970s. They've been expanded upon and improved, but what we're proposing to build is a new upgrading facility, and an upgrader for those, an upgrader is to upgrade these wax crudes into pipeline quality synthetic crudes. That's the purpose of the upgrader. The president of our company is a man named Vince Mehmet, who I know some of you know very well. Vince, for many years, ran the refinery for Flying J in North Salt Lake, and he's got tremendous experience. Vince, together with many of the engineers and others that we're working with, some of the best in the industry from all over the world, have designed the upgrader to be or to have control technologies that really are unprecedented. It allows us to operate under a minor source permit, and will really be a model for future development. The other thing that this particular upgrader would be capable of doing is by allowing or by bringing the infrastructure resources that we need for the site, the water and power and such. It would also allow us to offer to producers the opportunity to electrify wells, and that would also greatly help with any emissions in the area. So what Uintah Partners is all about, and I should say, Uintah Resources is the master developer here. Uintah Partners, so that there's no confusion, is just the affiliate entity that's been created to own and operate the upgrader itself. The upgrader, as you see here, is a 40,000 barrel per day facility. It will produce pipeline quality synthetic crudes. It will involve capital costs of almost $1 billion. And the encouraging thing about this project is that we have several major corporations that have been involved in the development already. I think people have realized, learning from the past, that it's going to take a cooperative effort from all of the stakeholders in order to do something of this magnitude. During construction of this facility, we expect that there would be 1,000 jobs or thereabouts that would be involved there. And also, once it's built and in operation, another 100 jobs that would continue. And as Gary was talking about, these are long-term jobs that help to bring stability and a real infusion to the economy, both here locally and to the state as well. The picture here that you see is a picture of a very similar upgrader that's being built by our EPC contractor in Canada right now. So this just gives you a visual idea of kind of what we're talking about here. Again, another picture. The idea behind Uintah Resources, of course, was to take what we had learned from the past and try to bring all the players together so that we could finally get over the hurdle that has plagued Uintah County and the state of Utah for so long, in that we can get us all working together in order to solve the problem. By being able to do that, of course, it means that producers would be able to immediately increase production, and sometimes that increase can be dramatic. Hopefully, when this is being planned, and because of the time that it takes to build something like this, producers can plan for that as well. As we talked about as I talk here about the increased profits to the producers, there has been some stability in the differential between the prices that the producers are getting for their crudes in Salt Lake versus WTI, but they're still well below what we think producers should be getting for their crudes. And that's the gap that we're trying to correct here, so that producers can start to realize the value of the resources that they have and really get the benefit of their investment here. The long-term economic investment to the region, again, this is a facility that will be here for a long time. Again, as Gary talked about, these plants are built to last, upwards of 40 years, and that's the idea here as well, that this would be a long-term presence and be able to process the crudes, which others have said there's a long-term supply here, and that's a proven supply. We also think that by doing this, we're able to reduce long-haul truck traffic. Right now, if you live here, or if you live even where I do, near Heber and Park City, we see a lot of trucks coming through on the highways, and that's necessary in order to bring those crudes to the refineries in Salt Lake. Hopefully, though, we can make those truck routes shorter term so that they can bring those things to the upgrader here, as opposed to having to take quite as many truckloads to Salt Lake. The other thing that the Uintah Gateway offers is a unique site that can also be positioned for future oil shale development. So as that resource comes online and technologies are proven that make that economically viable, the Uintah Gateway project is located such that we're close enough to a workforce, because it draws on Vernal and Roosevelt and Mighton and all of these surrounding areas. But at the same time, it's remote enough that it's away from the public view. It's up on the bench, as you know, and so it's out of sight. And so we feel like it's just a very good location for a development of this size. As I mentioned earlier, we received our approval order in January and have also commenced construction on some of the foundation work for the facility. There's also engineering that's been going on. Most of our engineers, as you might expect, are located in Houston. These are some of the finest engineers, we believe, in the world and in the industry. We have a major investment bank that's agreed already to provide the debt portion of this. Major private equity firm is also in conversations with us about providing the balance of those funds. So where the governor talks about capital being a coward, which is usually the case, in this case, I think that those from outside the state who are looking at this project, much like the Estonians, are seeing that there's a great upside potential here because of the great workforce we have here, the proven resources, the technologies that are now available. The time is finally right. Money has been sitting on the sidelines, but the time is finally right that this is the kind of project that those outside observers are saying can work, not just for the county, but for them from a financial standpoint. Once the project commences, it's our plan that construction would take approximately 30 months and hopefully would start operations by Q3 of 2014. So this is for the reasons I've talked about, this really is bringing together all of the ideas that we've heard today from the state and from others about how do we take the resources that we have and actually bring them to market in a way that is environmentally responsible and that can create jobs and a lasting economic benefit for the state. It's been a privilege for me to work with people like Todd Dana and Vince Memmott, who are really visionaries and are the kind of entrepreneurs that I think our governor is looking for in order to drive these things forward. We're excited about this project. We know that we've had opportunity to discuss this with many of you and appreciate all of your good ideas and good work with us to try to bring this to fruition. We really do believe that this project is the result of looking closely at the problems that we've had in the past, assessing what we have today in terms of technologies and and resources and location and all of that, and then making a plan for the future that we think is viable and that can finally take place and open up the wax crude production here in the basin, and then also position the basin for great things as other fuels like shale oil come on in the future. Thank you.